Hey guys, and welcome to this week's Squadcast, where we are discussing the final chapters of Thrawn by Timothy Zahn.
We did it.
Yay! It's your simp, Sexy 2.
Hey, it's your girl, Sexy 1.
It's your boy, Sexy Leader.
All right, let's get to it.
Let's roll.
We did it. We finished the book.
Yay! I'm so happy.
Has been simping for Thrawn for so long and hadn't read a single book with him in it. So
Yep.
here we go. Finally, you know a bit about the new version of his story, shall we say.
And I'm so happy because I simped so hard for Thrawn that I have multiple versions of Heir to the Empire covers on my shelf. I'm trying to get the different collections of the new canon cover books because I simped so hard. My watch wallpaper, I don't have it on right now. I just have my tan line.
Proof.
My tan line, yeah. Look at that. Look at that vest.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a picture of Thrawn because I simped so hard. My rubber bands are still blue for him.
Blue rubber bands on the braces. That's
amazing. Just for my man's Thrawn.
Oh yes, and you're also reading Outbound Flight on your own, right?
I am, because I was like, I need more Thrawn in my life because I can't simp enough.
You're gonna get really freaking confused, I think.
I'm just gonna start.
That's like his old story.
I'm gonna start seeing everything in like infrared and with the glowing eyes and just feel like, oh.
Yeah, just wait. I'll put some chiss in our story so that we can actually have some interactions. It'll be great.
Can't wait.
All right, so in conclusion, what are we talking about?
Did I do that right?
So, something like this.
Okay. Anyway, so I thought this would be like kind of a fun question because I would love to see your guys' responses to this because I feel like I don't know, we're gonna have different thoughts on this, but for a fun question, would you want to learn under Thrawn about art and tactics?
Yes. I think it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting thing to study. Would he be the best teacher? I don't know. Because if his technique in this book is to any indication of how he would be as a leader or a teacher, he just kind of does what he's gonna do and doesn't explain it to anybody. And then afterwards, he's like, "Did you figure it out?" And then they're like, "Well, some of it." And then he goes, "Okay, well, here's the rest of it." Oh, I get it now. But like, he doesn't seem to guide anybody, and by anybody I mean Eli, in like learning it step by step so that they can do the same thing and put it together. It's more just like, I did this and I'll tell you afterwards once you've seen it play out so that it clicks. Maybe you'll pick it up faster next time. But he doesn't give anybody the opportunity to follow along in real time. So I don't know if he would be a good teacher, but I would love to learn tactics and art analytics and psychology of deducing things about people based on their patterns and habits. Like, that's fascinating for sure.
Ooh, while you were telling your answer, I was like, yes, I agree with her. But my answer's almost going to be like hers. And then it switched to like, no, my answer's going to be totally different.
As you do, just piggyback.
And then it kind of came back. Yeah, where I was like, well, just piggyback. No, but here's the thing. I don't know if I would like Eli could, he took it the way he took it. And I was just like, man, I don't know if I have that type of patience like Eli does, And so, but I do like structure. So I think that's what's good about Thrawn is that he has structure. And then, so remember all his like decision makings and all his plans, strategies. Yeah, I guess you can say I could work for him or work under him because it's just, yeah, I do have that patience and remember by the book. So it's like, if you always go by the book, I don't think, I mean, we did see Thrawn go off the book.
He's a little bit more creative.
Went off. So that's a tough one.
But the question is, would you like to learn?
Would I like to learn from him?
Yeah,
For
so
me,
analyze
learn from
situations the way
him.
he does.
Yeah, so
Okay,
the
so
way
I'll
that he
say
like
actually,
analyzes art, or the way that like
Yeah.
he thinks so differently about like tactics. Would you want to learn that
yeah.
specifically from him?
From him.
Okay, well let's say no because I don't think I have that patience where we like if we like I like staying by the book. So like if we have to go off by the book and try to leave our our chimera ship somewhere,
Yeah.
like I can't do that. Like I'm like, dude, like really, like
That's why
what are
he
you trying
drove
to teach
everybody
me?
else crazy. And Eli either has the patience or just didn't care enough to get worked up about it. He just kind of was like, whatever, I'm along for the ride.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think you'd have to be patient to learn.
Probably.
Break the tie. Let's see, what do we got here?
I would definitely love to, just because I find the way that he analyzes and thinks about things interesting. Like, I feel like he thinks about things from a point of view that others may not. And that's
For
why it
sure.
was always fun in the book when people would like slowly piece it together and then they'd be like, oh my God,
Like,
this man is smart. Why didn't we think of this? And it's like, well, you just have to think about it from a different point of view, from a different mindset. And so that's why I find it really fascinating, especially whenever he talks about the art. So I was like, you beautiful blue man, please teach me.
very, very interesting. If you
So
like that sort of thing, I would recommend reading any of the Sherlock Holmes books or stories. Some of them are pretty short and easy, but it's very similar. There'll be a problem, a situation, and then things will happen and you're just kind of reading like, okay. And then you'll get to a point where he's like, oh,
I
but
think the
remember
dog
when
agrees
this
again.
you see the dog agrees.
Yeah,
So that
Shay
means I'm
agrees
on
with
a
you.
good point. And so then he'll put all these things together with little things that had happened throughout the story that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that was important. But
Now it said
because
no.
he's dang it. But because he's
Just kidding.
deducing and analyzing and putting clues together, then you're like, oh, I didn't even think of it that way. I didn't see it that way. And so it's like watching a genius work. But those books, they actually will give the reader a little bit more clues along the way. So if you're really trying to solve the puzzle, you can. Whereas in this, I feel like it alludes to the fact that Thrawn knows what's going on, but it never lays out the clues for the reader. Just all of a sudden, everything will come together, and Thrawn's like, here's how it all worked, and I had it planned like this the whole time. And you're like, okay, well, I don't know how any of us were supposed to know that. But if you like that kind of thing, read the Sherlock Holmes books. They're very
By
very
Timothy
fun.
Zahn.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Okay,
what's
ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so it's going to be another Thrawn question because, of
good.
course. Oh
Yeah, I
boy.
mean, it's strong.
Would you take Thrawn's offer and leave for Chiss space to work for the Ascendancy?
See, the thing that was keeping him there was his ideals, I think, of like he just believed in this more than he believed in preserving himself. So it would depend. Was I involved in something that I felt was worth dying for, even knowing I would lose?
So, like, think about it more in the sense like he sees potential in you that he thinks could be your talents could be better used over on his side of the galaxy.
Trying to think, like, what have I done in a similar
Yeah.
situation?
Same.
At one point, I was working for a company that we knew was going out of business. And they said, we'd like you to stay on till the very, very, very end, until we can't keep anybody on anymore. Just keep doing what you're doing until we can't do it. In the meantime, I got job offers from other companies, and I was like, I don't want to jump ship yet. I want to go down with the ship and like finish out this job. And so I did. And then I couldn't get a job after they finally laid me off at the company that went under. And I was like, dang, I should have took that offer earlier instead of being loyal to the company that asked me to stay. So it was a mistake, but my instinct was keep doing what I know how to do.
All right.
So if I learned anything from that, it is take the better opportunity instead of trying to take the high moral road and die for a cause. Heck no.
Yes. Yeah. So I want to just back you up on that because you did say that a few episodes about it, and like it's good because you kept that consistent with saying that opportunity. So I'd probably just like to say the same thing too with my answer, is that it's your fear is going to cause you to stay in that moral high sense where you feel comfortable, you want to stay where you're comfortable, and the fear of not knowing where you're going to go. Well,
Mhm.
that's where I was saying, like, people got to change, or people got to start, instead of saying what if bad way, and start saying what if good way. Like, I mean, it's something we can all start to do. And I think even me, it's like I have that somewhat of the similar situation you just explained, Megan, that take it or not. But like I am like, well, I don't know. If you can take a page out of Thrawn's book, I will right now. Take the fear, get off the fear, and then go. And then I probably would do uh what work for the chiz, what do you call it, the chiz,
This
The just
ascendancy.
ascendancy. So the
yeah, because I keep
yeah.
getting confused with Ice Guys, that name.
Oh, Higher
I'm like, oh,
Skies?
I want to say that advocacy group, and I'm like, wait, what's the
Completely
name?
different.
Yeah,
Very
totally different. But yeah, no, just losing. I'm gonna lose all my fear this year, and then I'm definitely taking every opportunity that comes
See,
at
just
me.
like
And
Eli, you learned your
yeah.
lesson and you're
Mhm.
like, oh no, I better take the better opportunity rather than just kind of slowly poke my way
Right,
along in this
right.
career.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like, well, hopefully that is the change. We'll see. But yeah, I'll take the opportunity.
Yeah.
Do it.
I have to agree with Ronald.
You just want to go wherever Thrawn tells you to go.
Shut up, that's probably true. But let me
You're like, oh,
explain.
Chiss, yeah, I'm in. I don't even tell me the rest of the deal.
You mean there's more of you?
Oh,
There's more
sign me
hot
up.
blue
There's
people.
more of
Hell
these
yeah.
blue men group.
Like, see ya, rebels.
You're like,
Wow.
sim mode has been activated.
Oh yeah. Too
No,
easy.
but so like you guys know, like I have anxiety, and with anxiety comes a lot of fear, a lot of negative what ifs, just
Yeah.
like Ronald was talking about the negative what ifs. And so lately I have been given the lessons in life of put yourself out there, try things, even if it doesn't work, you tried. And
Yeah.
that's what's really important.
That's the best
So
yeah.
I think what I would do is I would probably be scared because I'd be like, this is something completely foreign that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the harm in trying? What's the
Yeah.
harm in taking it? Especially if someone like him says, hey, you have potential, you have good abilities, put them to use somewhere else. Someone like that, who I don't think would say things like that very lightly, I would kind of have to be like, you know what? If you can believe in me, then yeah.
It's not like
yeah,
you're
let's do
jumping
this.
blind into some crazy
Mhm.
scenario. Like, there's somebody actually has seen something in you that makes them think you are capable of it. So
Yeah.
that should give you a measure of confidence.
Yeah. So I feel like I would definitely do it because it'd be like, hey, I can test my limits, my abilities somewhere different. I'm being told by someone who hopefully at that point would know me well enough to be like, hey, you have these abilities. Try
Mhm.
putting them to use somewhere else. So I would have to trust that and take that leap, put myself out there and go.
Oh, I like it. Hashtag take the leap.
Yeah, hashtag ascend together.
Yeah.
So no, and just to back you up again, it's like, yeah, you even though in the book it seemed rushed, like how they were rising together, ascending together, however you want to call it, but it was a long time. Remember, like a lot of time passed
Years.
by certain things,
Because
and
they
so
spent 8 years alone on the Chimera.
yeah,
And then years together
that's
before
it.
that.
Like cadets, like dude, and then how many years before that he was still a
Mhm.
savage. Gotta drop that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Arinda's the savage now.
yeah,
Wow.
Fuck you,
damn.
Arinda.
We'll get there, I'm sure.
So don't worry, there's a question on that.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
Yeah, you saw my stink face.
Ooh.
I mean,
Don't do my girl like that.
I've hated Arinda this whole time. You guys already know that. But yeah, so I just find it interesting, like our viewpoint on would we take that leap?
Yeah. I think we're all crazy like that. We'd probably do it.
I mean, life is short, so might as well.
It's like, it could be dangerous. You sure you want to do that? And we'd just be like, sexy Wookiee.
Exactly. We'd be like,
like,
where's the
"Alright,
hot
fine,
blue people?
sure. All right.
Arlani,
What if I unleashed
Samacro,
upon my
where are
people?"
you?
Then they definitely kick him out. Be like,
They'd be
what the heck did you just send back to us?
Why would you send this simp to us? She can't stop
Traitor.
staring at them. She's asked out like 5 of them.
Uh-huh. Oh
Be
yeah.
like, but her skills, yeah, she's got skills, but
It's like, yeah, you're exiled for real this time. Get
they'd
out.
be like, she put in her resume that she's a professional simp. What does that even mean?
She
She'll
wrote
be like,
it
no,
on
you
the
guys will figure it
walls
out.
or on the trees.
Oh
I don't
no.
know what they.
On my
Sabotage.
TikTok bio, I put professional simp.
Hey,
Boom.
be honest. Let them know. Let the people
Be
know what they're in
yourself.
for.
Go big or go home.
Uh-huh.
Oh Lord. All right, ready for the next one?
Yeah, what you got?
Ready.
Okay, so I wasn't sure how to properly ask it, so it might be a little long. I can repeat
Okay.
it if need be.
Get the gist of it.
So we saw significant change in Arinda's character, ending with her becoming ruthless and power hungry.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on the evolution of her character? This
Get ready for snarky, I hate new canon Megan. She's the only character who had any development in this daggum book. And as much as I love Thrawn and Eli, just because they're them, their story was freaking boring and went nowhere.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that at least there was half of the book that was dedicated to a character who was going through things, changing, evolving, and reacting to the world around her and overcoming obstacles and craziness. So as much as it turned her into a villain by the end, and it's like, oh, that sucks. Like, she started out as somebody so relatable, and now she's savage, as Ronald would say. But at least you're like, yeah, I can see how she got there. Like, I believe it. I can see why she's reacting the way she does in every situation. It makes sense. It's consistent with her journey, with what she wants and how that changes. So I thought that was very well done. And yeah, so at some point she lost me, most of the way I was like, oh, I know how that feels. Oh yeah, I've been in that situation. Oh yeah, I can totally relate to that. And then I'm just like, okay, whoa. You're off the rails now, Arinda. What have you done?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm sad that she went that far, but I am glad to see that it made sense, that it felt justified, that it felt earned, and that somebody had a character arc. So good job, Arinda. You saved the book.
I am. I kind of agree and kind of on the same boat.
Mhm.
Because I know the Rebels version, so I want to go back to that again.
And I still
Like,
don't, so I don't
Having
know what
going
she's
back
like
to
in that.
having to go back to the show version of her,
Hmm.
I was just always like, man, who's this whiny, like trying to get to the top
Mhm.
person? Like, I didn't like her at all in the show. And this author has really, like Megan said, like how far she's come, like I'll just fast forward to the part where, when she finally meets the parents, and then what happens once was it Gundry? Is that how you
Yeah,
say it?
Gundry.
Oh, Gundry.
Gundry.
Yeah.
There's a Gundry in the Squadrons game, I think. So
Oh,
that's
really?
confusing.
How
Isn't
funny.
there
Yeah.
one in Game of
But
Thrones
she's a
too?
rebel.
Oh no, that's
So-
Gendry.
Close enough.
Stupid.
So it's
Close
Gundry.
enough.
Gundry?
Gendry from Game of Thrones. That's what I'm thinking
Oh,
of.
okay. But
Versus
Yeah, no,
Gundry's the one in
was
the book?
Gundry an ISB agent in the game?
Okay. So
I don't know.
no. He's a robot slash
Oh, never mind. No, not
alien
even the same. Okay.
rebel. It's a rebel.
I'm sure two
in,
people in the whole galaxy can have the same name. It's fine.
Yeah.
But anywho, but yeah. So once I think there's always that arc. Once you've killed somebody in a movie, there's that type of change, right? And I think she had to do what she had to do, right? But also the consequences of her actions, when it all came down to it, she stuck with the Empire, like she said, how she's been focused all this time. And that's why I like how the character gave us this excuse me, how the author gave us this characters like beginnings, to be able to, for me to understand and not just judge somebody who hates my team on a cartoon series.
Yeah, well, she becomes that person that you don't like.
She becomes that. No, and that's why. So to now know why she's the way she is, I'm like, oh, great. Now I understand why that type of that savageness. Let's give her the title now. She deserves it. And you know, if you haven't seen Rebels, I'm just gonna spoil it anyway. Don't like the way it ends for her. So
Ooh, okay.
yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's the Disney version way, but
Oh, she fall off a
doesn't-
cliff and
no, it doesn't. It
disappears.
I can't remember. Jasmine, do you remember? I can't remember. I just
Oh,
remember
that impactful, huh? Okay. Good job.
I don't
Good job,
remember.
Rebels.
I feel like it was kind of quick and meaningless, just like her character.
Oh, dang.
Damn,
I
that's
don't
a savage
remember
answer.
100.
That's a savage answer. For
I
you.
don't remember 100% because you get. If you couldn't,
'Cause she
already
didn't even
tell,
care.
I don't like her.
Do you like her anymore now that you know what she went through to get where she got?
So I will say I find it interesting getting to know her origin story. My feelings are still the same. If I ever met her in person, I would throw one of the chairs at her, just hands down. This would be like WWE. I'd be like, fight me, Arinda. She'd be like, I don't even know you. I'd be like, I do not care. Fight me. I don't like your vibes or your face.
I agree by the end, I probably would feel the same.
Poor Thrawn and Eli. I feel like Eli would be trying to talk me out of it, and Thrawn would be like, fascinating.
Like,
I'd
how
be
does Eli get along with her? Like, I do
I
not-
feel like if he would try to talk to her, she'd be like, "Don't breathe near me, peasant." I feel like that's the
Right?
kind of vibe she gives. And then I would definitely start to fist fight her. I'd be like, "You don't talk to my sweet cinnamon roll like that." Then I'd throw a second chair at her, and I'd be like, "We're gonna catch these hands today, Rita." Eli would be like, "Jasmine, no." I'd be like, "Jasmine, yes."
And that's how you feel about her character arc.
So I find it interesting the way she became the way that she is. You know, it is nice to get that backstory, but I think I mentioned this in another video, or at least in our group chat. I'm just
Probably.
like, every time it comes to her, okay, so like you guys know I read it while listening to the audiobook.
Right.
The audiobook, I just have it like super sped up because I love Mark Thompson's like voices. It's really cool. I freaking hate Arinda. So like I speed it up super fast just to get it over with. And then all the other stuff.
Maybe you just don't like his version of her.
Yeah, you don't like his voice over.
No.
Yeah,
I
because she
do-
sounds like a husky, like cross-dresser.
No, I just
That's
that
what
how
she
it is?
sounds like in his version. Yeah.
Is that how they do it? They have to like make up the voice for females and males as well.
It'd be like if Ronald was in drag and was trying to do a girl voice. Like,
Oh, dude, I don't know if I can do that.
you'd be like,
I've never tried.
I don't know if I like you. Like, you're not.
Oh, I gotta.
How would I expect it, Arinda?
You guys gotta send me a snippet of this. Oh, I think you guys sent me a snippet of this. So let me try to check that out. What the heck? While we're no, let it out. I know I'm gonna just say a little bit more about it. I think
It's distracting. Like, if you just read the book and you imagine like really girly Arinda doing what she does, but then you listen to like this dude trying to do a girl voice, and you're like, what the hell?
oh man.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
It
and,
is-
and
it's
yeah, you got
distracting.
it. You have to have it, right?
like
In
his
order for it to-
Thrawn voice is amazing. His Eli voice amazing, and like God bless him, he tries so hard on the girl voices. But I still just like I picture some dude with like a 5 o'clock shadow in the bridesmaid dress with like the Arinda wig, and I'm like, I don't know.
Now that you're laughing about it, well, in my screen down there, and
I don't
then
know if she's frozen
and
or
then
dead or
the way
just
Megan is
wheezing.
explaining. Well, I guess it's. I mean, let's talk about what's it called? The Bad Batch.
Save it.
Bad Batch
save
is
it.
one person doing the same voice for all the characters. So if
Yeah,
this
but
is
they're
the
all
same
the
way,
same, like
oh right, yeah, it's in the same,
builds and
yeah,
face,
the same
and
accent kind of thing. Yeah,
same
you're right,
accent,
you're right,
exactly.
you're right.
So it's they would have the
But
same
this is
vocal
totally different.
cords.
This is
This
totally
is-
different.
This would be like if
Oh, I
if
gotta
I was
hear it.
trying to read it doing like the Thrawn voice, you'd be like, what does he
Well, but
sound like a
judging by the way
stupid girl
I know
doing a
how
bad
Arinda's
British
voice
accent.
is. I know how Arinda's voice is on Rebels, so judging
Yeah.
by the way you're laughing about it over there, hyena. that-
Oh, no.
oh man.
Oh,
But
so yeah.
Megan's comment was just so funny. I don't even remember what the hell I was saying. I just remember
Yeah,
to
finish
stop talking to
Answer the
What?
question, Jasmine. Come on.
oh, you haven't answered yet? Come on.
You were setting it up. You say, you know how, oh yeah, because you say you like to skip through as fast as you can when it gets to Arinda because you hate her so much.
Her voice wasn't the problem. I just hate her character.
But what if it is? How can you eliminate that?
Because I hated her voice in Rebels. Oh God,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
crying.
Well, I mean, those
Because
are
I hated her voice in Rebels too. I hated her face.
Okay.
I hated her stupid haircut. I want to be like, what dollar store did you go to for that
Doesn't
haircut?
she kind of look like the bad lady in the Indiana Jones 4 movie?
yes, that's what she looks like.
Like she looks
Exactly,
like the
almost
Kate
identical.
Blanchett character. in
Almost
that.
identical.
Oh,
Even the
God, my ribs
costume,
hurt
almost
so
identical.
much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
So,
can't wait
but
to
I
look
don't
back
know.
at this video and I'm dying for like 5 minutes.
I gotta watch that
That's gonna be
one. Was
screen
that
cap. Just
Kingdom
remember
of
that
the
again.
Crystal Skull?
Crystal Skull, which I
Crystal
was
Skull.
told doesn't count anymore.
It counts. There's gonna be a part 5. It counts.
Oh, don't talk about that. Anyway.
Okay. So I just hate her character no matter what. Mark Thompson, sweetheart, I'm so proud of you. I
What
love
can
your
you
voices.
say? He tried.
No, really, and I might actually like this Thrawn and Eli as much as I do because I listened to the audiobook first a few years ago before reading it again now with you guys, and his version of them was so endearing that even though I feel like now just reading the book and not hearing the emotion in the voice, I find their parts boring and undeveloped
Mhm.
just from like a narrative text standpoint. So I think having heard his performance saved their characters for me. Otherwise, I might not even like them at this point.
He
So
did
yes,
so
all props to
amazing.
Mark. Yes.
Even like with the women's voices, like I know it's hard to try to do
Oh,
different
yeah.
ones. I thought he did great. I promise it wasn't his voice that made me hate Arinda. I just already hated her from Rebels. I was
Okay.
like, okay, you are. But yeah, no, Mark Thompson's voice, like I love it. Sir, thank you for making me horny for fictional characters based off your voice. So
Oh
props
Lord.
to you. I killed Megan. First she killed me, now I killed her.
I don't know if we can post this episode. Oh my gosh.
We
Gonna
have
get
to put the
canceled.
restriction. No, we just gotta put the restriction on it. 18.
Sorry about that. I'm
18 plus.
simping.
YouTube's gonna monetize us and then
18 plus.
demonetize us immediately.
They don't monetize us.
Yeah, we don't get
Come on,
paid, guys.
YouTube.
Talk about
Sorry.
hormones and stuff. Come on.
YouTube, you gave
fine.
us the algorithm. Come on. What about the
We're fine.
Just said no. Give us the credits.
yeah.
We're
Come on now.
fine. But
Yes. Okay.
yeah, so no matter too long didn't read. I like the character development, but God, I hate her and I want to throw multiple chairs at her and I want to throw an extra chair at her just because I feel like she'd give Eli a dirty look and I can't stand for that.
I wonder if that's an accomplishment though, to create a character that's so unlikable.
Maybe
Like, if that's the intention.
I just found her like in Rebels, I found her so boring and so power hungry, but not in an interesting way.
Yeah, see, that's the difference though, is you guys didn't like her from the show in the beginning, and I don't know how she's portrayed there, and it might just be that she's just not developed enough, and so it's just like, what even is this character? It's stupid.
And I feel like, I will admit, I feel like some of that hate was transferred over to the book. I probably didn't give her that much of a chance. Timothy Zahn, I still like your writing for all the characters. Like the character development for Arinda, but I hate her character so much that like I couldn't focus too much on the character development because I just hate her that much. Rebels ruined it. I feel like if Rebels would have done a little bit better with her characters, and I would have been like all in for the book.
That's what's interesting about this book club though, is you get these people from different perspectives, so you guys can tell me what it's like only knowing her from Rebels and now reading her backstory, whereas I have only known her from the backstory to this point in the book and have never seen her on Rebels, so I don't know. Like, it's a totally different perspective. It's fascinating. Very interesting. Was that the last question, or you got
No, two
Okay.
more.
Oh my gosh, we better get on with it.
So one more about the book, and then the last one is the same question that
we
we
always
end
end with.
every book with. Your overall thoughts. Okay, so
Oh man.
second to last one.
Yeah.
Oh, look, another thoughts question, because what else are we going to talk about in book club?
That's what book clubs are for.
So I remember in the beginning we talked about like Eli wanting to become a supply officer, his path and whatnot. He's going on a new journey.
Finally, he took our advice.
Thoughts, feelings, emotions, all that on Sweet Cinnamon Roll's new journey. Go for it.
Yes, I approve, because that's what I wanted him to do all along, but he never did. So I find it inconsistent with his character. But it's finally, I don't know, you could call it development. I find it unearned development, in that we've never seen him take a risk before on his own, or take initiative before on his own. It's always kind of been like, well, wherever Thrawn goes, I'm going to go. Whatever he does, I'm just going to trust him. He's never been the risk-taking type, and this seems to be one of the riskiest things ever. This isn't just like taking on a job that you're like, well, I don't know if this is going to pay out for me, like he did earlier in the chapters when we fought about that. This, you're going to a completely unknown part of space with a whole race of people that you've only ever seen one representative of, that has been somewhat unreadable and intimidating and confusing to you your whole time of knowing him. And now you're just going to thrust yourself into this situation. Like, as much as I'm like, heck yes, do it, like I would do that totally, I'm like, I don't think Eli would ever do that. Like, from what we know about him, from what we've seen him do and how he behaves and how he makes decisions, I don't buy that this is consistent with his character. As much as I approve of it, I'm still just like, okay, well, as long as it furthers the story. And in fact, I'm glad he does it, because I feel like he's going to be more interesting after going through this than after working with Thrawn for however many years. So it's good for his character. I just feel it was a little unearned.
So I kind of remember what I said in the past episodes about Eli, and do we even see him go towards this end of the end of this trilogy? But again, like, I don't like to speculate, so I didn't really to see where he's gonna end up here. But it's like, does this now, him taking this opportunity, skew him from the what we know in the show? Because that's what I was looking at. I was like, oh, wait a minute, are they taking out Eli now
Is he in
to
the
have his
show?
own story?
No, he's not.
And that's why he's not in the show.
Oh,
So,
thank goodness. Okay.
No,
It's like, wait a minute, have I been missing out on Eli in like
I would
yeah,
let
so-
trust me. I would let you know if Sweet
Lord.
Cinnamon Roll was in the show.
Okay. Sorry.
So, and that's what I got to thinking when I was like, oh, he's going on his own. Now, I'd like to also go back to the risk taking, because I've always wanted him to take that risk. Remember, I said that he should have taken it, I think, and then you guys told me like, no, if he stay, and then I think I said I changed my answer, and I was like, no, he should stay with Thrawn. He's like,
I should have put
Thrawn's-
you in that artwork I did.
But I was saying
For the
Thrawn
shorts.
he's always been in Thrawn's shadow, and then at the same time, like, I get it, he was kind of mentoring him throughout the way, is what I also said in my answer. But I'd like to say this. I think I felt like, by listening to Megan's answer, I was like, wow, I'm kind of like Eli in a bit, where I didn't like to take risk, and I always used to just follow that path. It's always been, I mean, my decisions always been my decisions, but then my decisions always have been guided by something else somebody else said, whether it be a family member, friends. And then I was remembering now, and I'm going to bring Arinda back into my answer a little bit. I remember saying with Arinda, she never looked at family, friends, like her decisions were her own basis. And I
Right.
don't think Eli's was, because Eli was, and like I said, this is where I'm so close to Eli. Like, Eli and his family, like, when they got together, it was kind of like, them meeting Thrawn was like a bit kind of like, oh well,
awkward.
he may be, yeah, it's like awkward, but like, oh, if we have to make him part of the family, let's say, let's make him part of the family because just to make him feel good, kind of thing, or make him not, because again, he has no emotion, and it looks like he's so strict. I mean, judging by all the photos and a little bit of Rebels, but yeah, like, I think you have to take the risk, and this is a good opportunity
That's
for
what we've
Eli.
been
So
saying.
again, I'm gonna go back to my first answer, which kind of correlates to this one.
Take the
Yeah,
leap.
you take the leap, get out there, get out any opportunities, and if you cannot find opportunities, spread out vibes that will give opportunities for other people. Flip it on them. So you give them an opportunity. If they take it or not, then, well, hey, I gave you the opportunity and you didn't take it. So um, you just go on in life. And then so I think that's what I'm going to do more in life is leap and take opportunities. And then at the same time, if opportunities don't come, I'm going to give you an opportunity and let's see if you take it.
Brilliant.
Go, Eli.
All right. Just yeah, side note, his voice is like super
It's
scrumbly
adorable.
anxious.
Wait, was that
Those are two very different
Very
answers.
different answers.
Sorry.
Right there.
Anyway, I am so proud of Sweet Cinnamon Roll for, like you said, like he didn't quite do much without being at Thrawn's side. So I was like, yes, baby boy, you do this on your own.
Do
You
it.
go. I'm so proud of you. I like that, for the entire book, they were a pair, they were a duo. And then finally he's like, I'm taking that leap by myself. He was probably super anxious. Lord knows I would be. But I really like that he took this giant, humongous leap
Mm-hmm.
and is doing this alone. And I was like, you know what? I like that because, I mean, I haven't read the other books and he's going to be in Chiss space. I'm sure they're going to bring him back at some point in the
for
other
sure.
books. And so it's going to be really exciting to be like, here he was, as someone's glue, like stuck to the hip with someone. And now he's doing all this by himself, like huge leap, huge.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
So can you go a little bit more on that if you want to? I can cut it out if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But
what do you
like
mean?
you were saying like that he was taking the opportunity. So what can you tell the people watching this about that opportunity taking? Like what would you take out of Eli's page to take this opportunity? Even if it's an example from your own life.
Kind of like what I was talking about earlier, how you just have to take the chance. You just have to try, even if it's terrifying, even if you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You just have to make that leap. You have to try. And you can't just focus on the bad what ifs, like we both mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I found it so refreshing. And I don't know if refreshing is the right word, but I just found it so motivational, so uplifting.
There you go.
That Eli and Thrawn were such a pair, such a duo. And Eli even said like, hey, I'm content being at his side. And then you see this huge jump where he's by himself and
all of a sudden.
So I
taking
agree
this
with
leap.
you, and I'm glad you used the word because it wouldn't be a Sexy Wookiee Squadron episode if you didn't use the word refreshing. For what I think you've been consistent with every book you've said refreshing. So I love how the
Yeah, I
word
think
came
either
out.
me or Megan has used it at least once.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
That's
So,
our favorite
yeah,
thing to
we're
find
keeping a
about
theme
books.
going.
You don't want to be stale.
Or
Yeah, exactly.
refreshing.
So that's
No,
why
that's
like
good.
I really like Eli being like, I'm nervous, I'm gonna stay here, to being like, let's do this. And like I really like it, especially because like there's some stuff going on in my life where I'm just like, do I make that leap? Do I not? And especially after reading this, because I saw a lot of myself in Eli where I would get comfortable sometimes, especially because of my anxiety. I'd be too scared to try something else. So I'd be like, let me be comfortable. But after reading this, I'm like, you know what? If he can make that jump, so can I. And I really, really like that.
Nice. Yeah.
So then in your final question, which is overall thoughts and feelings on this book, I will jump back to your point that you just made and complain a little as I do.
Go for it.
It is sudden. he goes from being like, no, I'm content where I am. I'm just going to follow you, kind of be in your shadow. I'm not really ambitious and I'm not, really independent. Like, it's fine, but I'm fine with that. Like, that's what I'm good at doing. And then all of a sudden, out of freaking nowhere, he's doing this. And as much as like you and I are both like, that's freaking inspirational. Like, I love it. Good for you. Like, I want to be like that. I feel robbed that we didn't get that development. We never got in his head to see where that change came from, why he suddenly believes in himself, where that switch got flipped. Like, I don't think we spent enough time in his narrative to where we understood what his motivations are, how he feels about situations. It was always kind of the same. He would be like, well, I don't understand what's going on here, but I'm sure Thrawn has a plan. Every scene, the same daggum thing. He never developed, never learned something and overcame something and changed until suddenly he's a different person at the end. And I'm just like, where did this come from? Like, I would have loved to have read that story where he was suddenly forced into this situation where he's like, you know what? No, I'm going out on my own. I'm going to take this chance. I'm going to fly into the unknown regions. Thrawn said I should do this thing, so I'm going to do this thing. Like, forget the Empire. I'm going to live with the Chiss. Like, who are you? And what have you done with Eli? And tell me how you got from point A to point B. I want to read that. I want to be in his head. I want to see his motivation because, like you said, it's inspirational. It's very relatable. A lot of his the situations he gets into and the decisions that he makes. And so I wish that we had been more in his viewpoint. It's such a stark contrast from the last book we read, Republic Commando, where you were so in the heads of the characters and you saw everything through their eyes and understood how they felt about every situation and how it related to everything they knew or thought they knew. And then all of a sudden it's this, and it's very much like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and here's me explaining in a monologue how it got from this point to this point. But you never know how anybody feels about anything or what they want or are afraid of or anything. It's just kind of like they're just going along this storyline that's just getting explained to you in a very textbook sort of way. Like, it wasn't, I don't know, I was left so hungry for character. And like I said, I don't know why I love Thrawn and Eli so much. I love Thrawn because I love Legends Thrawn. And I'm so eager for us to read Heir to the Empire so you can see what he used to be like, what those of us, 70s and 80s babies who grew up before we had prequels, before we had anything, and what we had was the Thrawn trilogy, and that was Star Wars. And you were just like, this guy's freaking crazy. Like, oh my gosh, I love him. Like, wait till you meet that version of him and understand what we all thought he was before Rebels, Disneyfied him. And then Timothy Zahn came and wrote him like this, which is so unsatisfying.
Disneyfied, sorry.
Disneyfied.
I was just thinking of that photo I sent you guys with the person who tattooed their the Diz on their
Disney.
Sorry to cut you off on your answer. It's a great answer.
With a pun. Great.
Sorry to cut you off. I had to say it.
No, I think it is from the audiobook.
You were getting on my mouse, friend, a little bit there.
Oh, sorry, Mickey, don't kill us. We will not do Mickey voice and then start in a book club episode. Won't do it. But yeah, so I think it is the audiobook that made me love them so much because of that performance. Because now that I went through this book again and read it on the page without listening to the audiobook, it was so stale. It was so clinical. It was just like, this happened and then this happened, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't care about any of these characters or what they're doing because they just go from this point to this point and nobody feels anything about it. I don't know what they want. I don't know what they're trying to do here. They just kind of explain it, but you never, it's show don't tell, right? Timothy Zahn in this book is just telling everything. He never shows it. You never see them react in a way where you understand their emotions. He just tells you what it is. And it's so frustrating because he's better than this. He's so
Timothy
much better
Zahn,
than this.
if you are watching, so I bought the 20th anniversary edition for Heir to the Empire, and I geeked out to you guys because I was like, it has his notes and all the margins. Timothy Zahn, you amazing, beautiful human being. If you were watching, please release a version of Thrawn with your little notes.
I would like to understand, yeah, because a lot of this is taken from the old canon, and then he just puts a twist on it. Like this whole explanation at the end that we see where Thrawn is like, oh, it just was meant to look like I was exiled, but it was really all part of the plan. Oh, gee, Thrawn, he actually was exiled. He got kicked out of the Chiss Ascendancy and was exiled, okay? So this was meant to be a little twist on people who already knew the Thrawn story, so that even we would be surprised and be like, wait, he was just pretending to be exiled now? What's this? But I'll tell you, when I first listened to the audiobook of this, when it first came out, and I was like, oh, freaking Thrawn, finally something from canon, from old canon that I can appreciate, and an author that I know I'm going to like. It was so bad that even when the rest of the books came out, I didn't read any of them. So this is me revisiting this book, and I still have no desire to see where this goes. Maybe I want to know what happens to Eli, because he's the only new and interesting thing in here. But by the end of this, you don't like Arinda. And Thrawn, I'm just like, I don't even know what you care about. Like, I don't understand your character. Like, you're just so dry. And it's interesting in that he's smart, but he never allows you to be smart as a reader. Thrawn just explains to you at the end of something that was never set up, and he just says, oh, now you can see this plan, comes into action, and here's me explaining how it happened. But there were never clues along the way, so that you as a reader could be like, oh, now I get it, this was actually that, and this came together like that. It's so frustrating. So and it's not like a lot of the new canon that I will get frustrated about, and I'm just like, I don't know these authors. I know Timothy Zahn. Like, I've read his books before. I've seen him at his best, and I don't know what Disney did to him, but like, this is not as good as what he used to write, and it's so frustrating. So if we read the rest of the new Thrawn books, which we're going to have to for Jasmine's sake, I'm sure, like, we have to follow her boyfriends, but like, I hope it gets better, because gosh darn it, I want this to be good. I want it so bad to be good. But it's not Heir to the Empire. It's not on that level.
Overall thoughts on the book.
Professional simp.
I love Thrawn. Hashtag.
It's in every notebook.
Hashtag I love Thrawn.
C+J.
All right.
I simp so hard for this man.
Show the people the sticky notes.
Oh yeah, how did the final
how did we
count?
end up
Not
here?
bad.
Right
nice.
there, right there.
Yes, lots of
All
notes
right,
from this.
let's hear it. I want to know what you got out of this book. This was your choice, so I want to hear what you got out of it.
So overall, I'm really happy with it. As you guys know, like, I've been on Tumblr. I'm not even gonna age myself, but if you understand the reference, Science Side of Tumblr, People with Violet Eyes, The Ball Pit. If you guys recognize what I'm saying with that, I've been on Tumblr for ever.
You're probably really young, because us boomers don't get it.
I mean, I'm so confused here. Are you talking about these purpley,
the boomers of
red
Tumblr
eyes?
would understand.
Oh, heavens.
So I've been on Tumblr for a painfully long time. So like, I knew bits and pieces about Thrawn, canon, and legends because of Tumblr. So finally getting to read the book was so amazing, because I understand a lot more, like, the headcanons and the discussions that have gone on. While I just like usually sit on the side and I'm like,
like, I don't understand this, but
I don't understand, but I like it.
But you're beautiful.
Oh god, you beautiful blueberry bastard man.
Now you know.
That's one of my hashtags on my Tumblr. Beautiful blueberry bastard man. I don't know why, but yeah. So finally getting to read it, I love it. Timothy Zahn, I love you. I would love to just sit down, get coffee, and just pick your brain about Thrawn and Eli for like hours. I just want to talk to you about like all these characters for hours if I could. There were a few parts where I was a little disappointed because I get it. He has to fit in like, what is it, like 14 plus years in one small book. I get it.
No, you don't. You could have made that the trilogy. You could have built up.
I mean, there's still 2 other books with an extra like few years. So I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure Disney gave him parameters and was like, you better work with what we give you, because
Well,
that's
what
the only
hampered
explanation
him
I have.
was that the finish line is Rebels.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot develop this character past where he ends up here. You cannot give him anything that, well, like, they care about
He's
consistency.
still alive
That
somehow.
so it is hard to only build so far as the finish line that already exists. Whereas I know that he could probably have made a much different character. He could have done a whole new arc, but he had to end at a certain place that Thrawn is in the show.
I mean, you know, like I said, I still really like it. My only thing was like the time jumps was a little confusing. That's why shout out to that person on Tumblr. I can't remember their name, but they made like a timeline and explaining like I'll send it to you guys. I don't know if I already did, but I'll send it to you guys. It was super helpful, and I would go back to it, and it explains like the timeline of like Thrawn, like the 3 books and Rebels all simultaneously, and it has the timeline of how long they were on each ship, of like when they were what rank for, you know, whatever, and like what was happening simultaneously with the book with the show. So that was really helpful, because I'm really bad with like dates and time, even fictional ones.
Well, it was so jumpy, and like things would suddenly, it felt like a lot of the important development happened between where the book would pick up. It was like, oh, suddenly now we're on this new ship and we've got all these new characters that we have these relationships with, but I'm not going to write how that got established. But just believe me that this is how it is now, even though the last time you saw them, it was 5 years ago and it was a whole different situation. I'm just telling you now that this is how it is, even though I'm not going to actually get them to this point. They're just going to be here now.
I mean, I said, I'm still overall happy with the book. I think that was like my biggest complaint. I really am happy that I got to see so much more into Thrawn's mind. I love Thrawn. I love Eli. Pharaoh, even though we don't get too much of her, God, I love her. I don't know. I want to go get a drink with her. I feel like she'd be a cool person to go get a drink with. We'd be spilling all the ship tea together. It would be amazing.
She's a good addition. Is she in the show?
No.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
That would actually be a good episode for us to get Timothy. We invite you.
Timothy,
Please.
We have
please
explain
come
yourself.
on.
Well, we have somebody who knows the
explaining to do.
Legends version of him, and then somewhat the overall, but closer towards the.
Yeah, I want to know how much
and
your
then
hands
the
were
Rebels
tied.
versions of him. So, I mean, yeah, we have a lot of questions.
Timothy,
and
please
how,
come talk to us. Like,
yeah.
can
We
you just
invite
like
you-
clear your schedule for the entire day so we could talk to you like the whole day? Because
Oh,
we
yeah.
are big fans. We would just love to talk to you.
Maybe after we read all the books, then
Yeah.
we know what
That
we're
would
talking
be-
about.
Let me read Heir to the Empire first, so
Yeah.
I can make my full.
Well, see, and that's the advantage you get in this
judgment.
that Jasmine, I think, is right about. You, as much as I didn't get much out of it, you do get more into Thrawn's mind in this, even though I feel like it doesn't show us much except the way he analyzes what people's voices and stances and facial heat holds, even though that doesn't benefit you at all in reading this. In the Thrawn trilogy before, you spend a lot more time with Luke and Leia and Han, and not as much. Thrawn is just kind of like the villain in this story. Like, these books are about Thrawn. You actually spend time following him. And so that I was like, oh, this is going to be good. We're actually a book that's about Thrawn. Like, this is his story. So that, I think, is going to be the big difference.
Yeah.
That was the opportunity that he had with these books that you don't get from the EU.
So
And
that
what
was, yeah, I really like that. I like getting into his mindset, and I can easily say I definitely love Thrawn and Eli so much more. And I already loved them so hard because of Tumblr. I didn't think I could love them anymore, but holy moons. I am so in love with these two characters. Like if they were real, I would fight for them.
Aw.
They wouldn't even have to give me a reason. They'd be like, Jasmine, throw a stool at this person. I'll be like,
Done.
They'd be
At
like, do
least
you
you-
want a reason? I'll be like, nope, you asked me to. I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, you looked at
Precious.
Eli wrong, you're gonna catch my hands. You question Thrawn, catch these.
They are
hands.
precious.
Yeah, no, I love
True.
them. I love their friendship. I love their dynamic together. And I love that like Eli is like, yeah, I'm content just being his aide, but Thrawn is like, no, there's potential in you. Even Pharaoh was like, there's potential. Everyone is like, sweetheart, we can see this good about you. And so that's why I kind of like I felt like Eli was kind of relatable because like I get very shy and nervous and I just kind of see myself in one box and then other people are like, oh, we see these things. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I guess until I'm put in a opportunity where I can actually like show my abilities. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess they were right. I just didn't see that in myself. So that's why I really like that about Eli because it's
No,
it's
but
just
you're
so
making
relatable.
a good point there. That would be relatable. I don't think this book accomplished that. I think
Really, that's what I saw.
not at all. You're right in that they get to a point where Pharaoh says and Thrawn says Eli's got leadership potential. I see it in him. But if they hadn't said that in the dialogue, what scene did you get that would you have said, look at Eli, look at him making decisions and calling the shots and being independent and being a leader, like giving commands to other people? Never. We never saw it. We were told that other people believe that about him. We never get into his head where he's like, I'm not sure about it, but I need to make a stand on this issue. Or like we never get it from his point of view where he's doubts himself but has to prove himself in a situation. He's always following. He's always just kind of like doing what Thrawn told him to do, even though that does take courage because he doesn't understand why he's doing what he's doing. He's doing what he's told. He never contradicts Thrawn to make a decision on his own. He never stands up for
but
something.
He does question things, even if it's not allowed. He does question things at least to himself, and you can kind of see that thought process. I don't know if it
He
makes more
questions
sense
when he's trying to figure it out.
But I do like that you can see like you're reading like the gears are turning in his head, and
yes,
I'm
I
glad
like
that we at least get that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like that he is in, like he's involved, he's engaged in what's going on around him, and he's trying to sort it out, and he's trying to decide if he trusts or if he needs to understand or if both can exist simultaneously. What I wish we had seen is an example of this leadership ability that people keep telling us he has. Give us one scene where Thrawn's like, I'm leaving you in charge and you know, you have to call the shots. I trust you. You know how to see situations now on your own. So I'm gonna go do this and you're in charge of this battle or whatever. Like that would have shown us. That would have proved the point. And instead it's the age-old rule number 1, show don't tell. Again, we keep getting told he has this, and I believe he does, and I want him to, but I wish I'd seen it. I wish there'd been a scene where even Eli didn't realize he was doing it, but he demonstrated some sort of initiative, and that would have proved it. We could have been like, look, baby, you're doing it. Yes. Like, but there wasn't a scene like that. And it's driving me crazy that everyone's like, yeah, look at him. He's really got potential. And I'm like, what potential? What are you talking about? Like maybe between the years that they skipped, he did something, but we never got to see it. All right. So we're reading this, which I don't have my glasses on, but I think it's called The Paradise Snare Han Solo Trilogy, book 1 by A.C. Crispin. And which chapters are we reading, Jasmine?
We will be reading chapters 1 through 5.
Excellent. All right, so next time we see you, we're going to be talking to some young Han Solo. Sorry, Thrawn. We'll be back. Don't you worry. But yes, that is our assignment. Paradise Snare, chapters 1 through 5 for the next time. In the meantime, check us out on all the other social medias. We've got obviously Tumblr, which we talked about a lot tonight. All sorts of craziness going on there. We've got our Instagram fun. We've got art. We've got stories. We've got video games. All sorts of things going on. Otherwise, join us here on the book club for the next episode where we're reading Han Solo. Otherwise, bye, Thrawn. Bye, Timothy Zahn. Bye, Eli and Arinda. Until next time, we're going to have to sign out, sexy Wookiees. So let's go. Sexy Wookiee.